fighting. We passed also fighting in Jared Tufah near Sajaiya, and this completes the operation of Jabalia, Beit Hanun. All of them are opposite of the communities on the border near Am, Efalsum, Kfar Aza. We create different security for the communities. This is part of our fighting against terror, and we will ensure that the state of security will be different in order to allow the residents to come back when time is right. Today we exposed that IDF forces are operating among the areas of the senior Hamas operatives. This area was a cover for terror infrastructures. Based on information we exposed under that area, a network of underground infrastructure that was used by Hamas leadership, Def, Hania, and Yahya Sinwar, both in routine and in emergency time, also were used during October 7th. This is where they ran the operation. From these infrastructure, they were able to spread around the strip. From the Gaza City, they were able to move to the Shifa hospital, and from there, taking an ambulance cab to the south, go south, north, and move to Rantisi Hospital. The main reason why the infrastructure and our entrance to Shifa was so worrying for the seniors of Hamas was not because they were hiding there, but because of the battalion commanders were using that infrastructure in order to manage the fighting in the city of Gaza. They knew that what would allow the commanders of Hamas to run the fighting against the IDF was that infrastructure, and when they lose the infrastructure, they're weakened. And therefore, we have taken down the battalions in this area. This is also in order for the future not to have that terror infrastructure that would enable anyone to fight against us in this sort. Over there we also found weapons, including intelligence, sensitive intelligence information that enable us to understand the plans of Hamas, and this is also comes into fruition through the operation of the IDF right now. With that, we completed exposing the Hamas tunnel infrastructure underground. We will destroy the infrastructure in all the strategic points. We will continue this operation also in the southern part of the Gaza Strip. We will reach the underground hideouts of Hamas commanders in Khan Yunis. We have added in recent days another battalion and more engineering tools in order to locate and fight the underground infrastructure of the seniors of Hamas. This is a complex operation. It takes time for the safety of our troops, and also because the destruction method takes time, and we're determined to do so as much as needed. The underground operation will continue, and the airstrikes will continue in all the arenas I specified in all over the Gaza Strip. We also struck in Rafah. We also struck commanders in Rafah, and will continue to hunt the leadership of Hamas everywhere around the Gaza Strip. We published today more findings from the event in which the hostages were killed, Yotam, Samer, and Alon. Yesterday, we've located a film from a GoPro camera that was on K9 that recorded the hostages 5 days before they were killed. It took place during a fight in which a force of the Golani Brigade was fighting inside a complex weeks. During that clash, the dog went in order to clean the area. Terrorists shot the dog. And since then, we can hear voices that when we analyze the film, we understand that these voices were actually the hostages, the 3 hostages. We understand that they were in that structure. It is about a kilometer from where that disaster took place, and we lost the 3 hostages. After initial investigation of the footage, we estimate that the terrorists were eliminated during that battle, and this is what enabled the hostages to escape. Bravely, they've escaped until that terrible tragedy that we focused on. The commander of the Southern Command has presented an investigation of the event. The Chief of Staff has ordered to complete the investigation according to the new findings. And when it is completed, it will be presented to the families together with all the materials, including the footage. We will present everything to the families. We owe the families the truth and the investigation. This is what will be. And later, we will present certain facts to the public after the families are exposed to this and will respect them. It is our responsibility to learn the lessons and do everything so that an event like this does not repeat itself, and to create the right operational opportunities that would enable the release of hostages. Releasing hostages is one of the goals of the war. The IDF invests special forces and intelligence in locating hostages. This is a prime mission. Also, the forces on the ground were ordered to locate hostages. Will continue to do all the possible efforts in order to bring back the hostages that are being held in Gaza. We embrace the families of the hostages and continue to follow them. In the north, we struck throughout the day several Hezbollah targets in Lebanon from air and from ground in response to strikes against us. The policy is clear. We fight against any threat on the border. We take out abilities of Hezbollah, especially near the border. The southern Lebanon is a battle zone, and it will continue to be so while Hezbollah is attacking us. From the start of the war, Hezbollah is dragging Lebanon, and especially the southern part of the country, into a dangerous area. We'll continue to eliminate Hezbollah terrorists on the ground. We'll continue to strike them and kill them as long as they continue to hit us and threaten us. Will not allow them to remain on our borders. The Chief of Staff traveled through the Lebanon border and met the reservists. They fight day to day in all the borders, and their high turnout is worthy of the thanks to the people of Israel. We work on additional compensation to those reservists. We know that they need that, and we also speak to their families. Today, the fighters of the paratroopers have left Gaza for some refreshments. They arrived at an IDF base where they will gather strength and meet their families. This is a process that each time will give to another force in order to give them time to rest. Questions? More details about the event in which the hostages were killed. Did the force that eliminate the terrorists also heard the calls in Hebrew a few days before? Do you know why there was no search following the elimination of the terrorists, and why did you return there over the past several days? And did the commander call out not to shoot, and was still and the hostage was still shot. You're asking important questions. I was in the Southern Command yesterday with the Chief of Staff. Some of these questions raised, some of them already have answers. The event that involves the Golani Brigade has not been investigated yet. We investigate forces that are in ongoing fighting. We investigated it because of the importance. We went to a fighting zone where terrorists are still active, and we researched the angles of fire in order to understand. This is not to be taken for granted during a war, during a fighting zone. In order to bring the lessons to the forces, in case there are more hostages around. It happened yesterday that we found the footage. We now need to investigate the force to understand what happened. We understand that at the end of the day there was a dog there. What was the reason that the dog has remained there will need to be realized in the investigation. We'll complete all the information. We understand the importance of this. We'll investigate. We'll pass all the lessons to the forces. We'll go to the families, give them the information, and then we'll update the public. Are the information about the elimination of the commander of the Rafah forces of Hamas are correct? There is no immunity to the commanders and the leadership of Hamas anywhere they are. We attack in Rafah. We killed a senior commander there a few days ago. I report here that I know that something happened, and when there are clear facts, we will update all the media and through that the public about killing a senior Hamas leader. Sometimes it takes time to know that it happened. We continue to operate around the clock to locate them and to kill them. This is our task. There are talks about a possible long truce for the return of hostages. Will that hurt the fighting? The IDF has goals to eliminate Hamas, to bring back the hostages, to create security to the residents before they come back. All of these we need to do together. We also take care of the border. We explained why we're fighting in Sajaiya and Bet Hanun. There are people who do not know these places, and there are people who live on the other side of the border in Kfar Aza and want to know that the IDF operated in that area and eliminated the terror. This is our job. In addition, we also have the job of eliminating Hamas so that it is not a military body that controls Gaza. It is clear to us that the prime goal of returning the hostages is both through operational activity but also through a hostage deal, and this came through pressure on Hamas, who knew we are determined and will not give up. It needs to know that we'll continue to operate in all the arenas. We will not get out of the Khan Yunis arena, and for time. And if the government comes to us and asks us to create the conditions of a ceasefire, we'll do so. But for now, we are working decisively to dismantle Hamas, to kill terrorists, and to create conditions to return hostages. There are rumors about another deal when we don't have information about the Bibas family. I do not address details as you describe. I can tell you one thing: we update the public about hostage or where we know someone is being deceased only according to information, reliable information. And while we don't have reliable information from a number of sources, we will not say anything to the family. We will hope they are all alive. When we have other information, or when there will be such information, we will present it to the family and then to the public. This is how we operate. Thank you very much.